we wanted or we discussed trying to define political parties today,
Yes,
which
sir.
is um, a bit, uh, in my opinion, of a daunting task.
It's
Um,
really hard to do as I was thinking about it.
well, yeah, I mean, quite honestly, one of the most conservative people I know um, is a registered Democrat. So it it is very difficult, but I think it would be a fascinating thing to discuss.
Fascinating.
So so
Well,
take it away, Mike.
get her going, bud. What do you identify as?
Myself, I would call myself maybe center right. I would call myself conservative for um, the job that I've had for the last 30 years in the performing arts. But I wouldn't call myself a staunch conservative by any means. Mikey, you've known me more than anyone.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
No, I want you to define conservative.
Um,
You did this to
Conservative
yourself.
traditional values,
As in, such as
um, family.
family. I'm
Um,
writing this down.
yeah, yeah, you always
Family.
do.
Family.
But a nuclear family.
Which
The
you would define as what?
Glows in the dark.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Um, I would define a nuclear family as two parents raising children together, trying to utilize the best of their knowledge to raise them. How
Okay.
would you define family, JT?
Well,
I wouldn't. This is you, dude. This
yeah,
is this is your
I
thing,
wouldn't
man.
dare. Yeah, I wouldn't dare.
Well, I
Okay.
mean,
All right.
I mean, I think I don't know if families necessarily need to have children to be families, but I
Yeah,
generally get and
I had some
I
questions.
generally get and agree with what you're saying, that you believe in families that are raising kids to have a two parent household is what you're saying.
I, I mean, it gets convoluted, doesn't it? And quite quickly because, like, I
It-
have
it's
divorced
pretty clear.
friends. I'm sorry, Mikey.
It was pretty clear from my end. I mean, you pretty clearly said, and from what if you want, well, I was going to let you keep going about other things. I didn't want to get hung up on the definition of even family because already immediately, immediately upon beginning this, it was like, well, I consider myself conservative. What does that mean? Well, I like family values. So what is family?
Well, I
I mean,
consider myself conservative for the liberal arts. I don't.
right, and that's so. And the other thing too is having everything have a qualifier on it is going to just if you put a qualifier into something, I'm going to ask you to define your qualifier too. And if you
Well,
make a comparative statement, I'm going to ask you what you're comparing it to. So just so you know, if you say something that is a comparative statement, the very next thing I am going to ask you is what are you comparing that to? So you might as well tell me to begin with and save me the time. I'm
I
just
would like to put out there that I'm hard right now. Well done, Mike D.
I hate you all.
I still got it, you know? I was gonna
Be like,
shave
be
too.
like, no, no, I'm cool with what you're saying. Just explain it real quick.
No, no,
Just
no.
explain what.
All
I'm
right,
just
so let's go
saying.
down that exercise.
And when it's my turn to get blasted, when I'm espousing my beliefs, I expect the same treatment. But if the point of all this is to understand each other, then out with it. And
No,
don't be shy and don't be coy and don't make references to things that Brent doesn't understand. He's new. Give him a
Yeah.
break.
So let's have that exercise, Mike. Traditional family,
sure.
father, mother, children, because respectfully disagree, JT. A family does not exist for many generations without children.
So you think my partner and I aren't considered a family?
Well, I think you're a family, but for that family to continue,
Now you're talking about legacy.
Right.
right, which is a family.
Not
That's
necessarily.
microphone on.
Families can have legacy. Also, like if you take from my family, the Douglases, if you take the name Douglas, you are the family, whether you're blood related or not. You're part of the family.
I concede to that. That's
you-
a good point.
You get you get the benefits of being a Douglas, whatever those are. Not sure. I haven't gotten my pamphlet this year. I don't know what the current Douglas is. But you know what I mean?
But
You
traditional, right?
choose.
Is the conservative viewpoint of what family is traditional families.
Is it
Tradition-
blood? That's
What's
my
that?
question. Is it about blood ultimately? Do conservatives really think at the end of the day you need to be blood related to be family?
No, I think if you look at back at like Scotland, you were part of the clan. No matter if you were blood or not, if you were brought into the clan, you were family.
So
Yeah,
would
I
you
mean-
consider a Scottish clan a traditional family unit?
Yeah.
Okay, now we can't even agree on the color of shite. Jesus.
I like it. I like it because I'm Scottish, so it's like, of course, But also, Scots are typically known to be very racist or very, they don't, they don't mix well with others. Typically, they make for good soldiers anyway.
They don't even mix well with themselves. How many generations and centuries did they go to war with each other?
Yeah. Oh, that's a whole other topic that Train Spotting covers pretty well. It's shite being Scottish, but that's a whole other funny argument.
But conservative is holding to tradition, right?
Okay.
One
Sure.
could make that argument.
And I'm gonna just put a spike in that and say, like, all traditions start off as a new and crazy idea.
Yes.
Until you've done it long enough, it's not a tradition. So everything is a new. So at what point do conservatives? How do you add to your ideology? I'm not asking you to fix it. It's just a question that I've had many times, where it's like, how does that philosophy grow?
Well, and not to blow this whole conversation up, but you add liberals.
Yeah. And
What does that mean? You add them to your family?
You add them into the clan, to the conversation, into all of it. We don't.
Well, that's very not
Progress.
traditional of you.
I know, right? I didn't say
What
I
the
was
heck?
conservative. That was
Oh,
Mike
right. That
Blunt.
was Mike.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
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 Right. Yeah, gotcha. No
Yeah.
liberals for him.
No.
Oh, no. On the panel with 3 liberals.
Wait. You calling Brent a liberal?
Wait.
How do you feel about that, Brent?
I mean, I'm a little hurt, but I'm sure I'll get over
But how do you know? I mean, we haven't even defined liberal. It
We-
might be a really wonderful thing.
it.
We haven't got there yet. We're still stuck on family.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Certain
here we
people
go.
I know consider me a liberal, so that
So that's that
that's
kind of elusive speaking I'm talking about. Who? If you say some shit like that, I'm going to say, all right, who are you talking about? Put them on blast, or don't bother mentioning it.
my neighbor across the street. I don't remember his name, but
So someone you
What a
don't actually
shock.
know.
um, someone that I talk to every time that we see each other, but not someone that I
But
socialize
it's like
with.
Wilson behind the fence. He's like, "Hey, neighbor."
You think
Absolutely.
Wilson was a moderate or like a conservative what was? I wonder what Wilson's philosophy was.
I think he was like Brent. That's yeah.
Yeah.
He's all about freedom. He's out there. He's like cooking weird things.
He's always in his
Prepping,
yard. He's
You
always
know.
in his yard.
Yeah.
Always doing something on his property. Yeah, yeah. All right, well, maybe we can shelve what a family is for now. Mike, what else? I'm curious what you think the rest of being a conservative is, because I do agree that family gets brought up a lot on those conservative talking points. It's like this importance of family. So there is something
Mhm.
to that for sure. And maybe one of the problems is that we don't all agree on what that family unit is. And so
Sure. Now,
that
like,
creates an issue because the Democrats or the other side's like, what? I don't hate families. I just I just define family differently.
of course, and that's kind of the sticky wicket of all of it is everyone will define things differently.
Okay.
Um,
So
but no, for me, family, not even necessarily traditional family. I've got a dear friend um, who's divorced, um, raising his kids. I don't want to say with his wife, but in conjunction with his ex-wife. And I think they're doing a fine job of it. I've only met the kids a couple times, but they're wonderful, um, mostly adjusted and the like. So, but for myself, my views, traditional family, I'd say religion, except I was a church musician for far too long, and I've not found one church that agrees with another, so I can't really go there.
Not surprised.
I'm sorry, Mike.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, no, it's the difficulty of looking at many different churches. Um, but you know,
Yeah, no, it sucks. It sucks getting your information from lots of different places. You really have to put it all together for yourself and make up a thing that works for you. That's such a
right?
you can't.
Such a
Wouldn't it
horrible
be
thing.
great if you could just sign up for something and have them tell you how to think? That'd be so much easier. I'm gonna do that.
Said no one ever. Said too many people ever.
90%. I
But
think
yeah,
I'm a metalhead. You know, that's how I know. That's what I identify as. That's a comfortable thing I can believe in myself. You know, I belong to that group.
JT, your cat's tail keeps
It's awesome. It keeps making awesome cameos. It's like,
right. I just keep going. What's going on? What's go?
It will in this conversation, it will be the most interesting thing about me, I think. So enjoy, internet. Here we go.
Oh,
Well, what about you, JT? I mean, I've been.
Did you finish? It's my turn now. Did you even finish answering it?
Of course not. Do I ever answer anything?
He's like,
the
no,
internet.
someone else. Please go. Please go. I don't know how I would define conservatism, Mike. I don't know.
Well, how would you define yourself? Politically leaning.
I try not to.
so
I
what does how does that affect you when you vote? You know, like where do you not like who do you vote for, but what does that leave you when you sit down to decide who to root for?
I tend to vote for people on both parties, depending on what the position is. Pretty historically, I've like for like state controller and people who are typically more focused on the budget, I usually vote Republican. But if it's someone who has a social agenda, which tends to be both sides, I typically choose the Democrat because I find that on some of the social issues, I align with them more. But I do not have like a necessarily a problem with like all points on the Republican side, and I'm not happy with all points on the Democratic side. I find that the more that I research about them and explore and learn what they are, I think that both parties are ultimately failing us and are typically more interested in scoring points against each other than in coming together and working together and actually leading. Like one side saying, oh, it's the Democrat shutdown or it's the Republican shutdown. No, motherfuckers, it is a government shutdown, and you are both part of the government, and it is a failure in leadership on all sides to like this constant scapegoating of the other side, I think, is what makes me feel like I don't necessarily ascribe to either. But yeah, I would say that socially I tend to align more with the typical Democratic candidate. So.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah, the same. I try to look at what they've done or what they've not really what they plan to do as far as like JT, if
promises are easily broken.
Yeah, right. It's deeds, not words, right? I mean, it's so if and that's a problem if the person is a relatively new candidate. But yeah, I try to look and see where they have voted previously. And if they themselves don't vote much, that's a problem for me.
Mm.
You know, because I feel like if you're involved in it, you should have a viewpoint. And so sometimes I will look at, especially career politicians, you look at how many times they abstain from a vote, and I'm like, oh, all right, well, maybe you're done. You know, if you've got a large percentage of times where you just, well, I'm going to disagree, I'm going to agree to disagree on this one. It's like, no, I need somebody with an opinion.
Sure. Speaking of career politicians, did you guys see that Pelosi's not going to seek re-election after like 40 years, 38 years, something like that?
Well, good. You
Well,
know, she's done her. I mean, shit, man. Time
yeah.
to fuck.
Yeah. I want term limits for those people also.
Yeah.
Like, we need young blood.
Yeah,
I could definitely get on board with term limits. I don't necessarily believe that young blood is always the best solution, having worked with youth for a long time. Um, Sometimes age and experience wins out, but there's a lot of people um, in the political class today that are not in touch with our current society, I'll say.
No, I think that's well said. I think if you look at the last 12 years of elections, we are not seeing an influx of anyone from the millennial generation or the X generation, and I think that's a problem.
I think we have one current senator, either senator or congressperson that's of the millennial generation right now.
AOC?
No. Someone younger than her. I don't remember who it was. I saw a stat a couple days ago.
Oh, so not like the new, what is it, Gen Z or whatever it is? Is that what you mean?
Um,
can we
it
go back to describing it based on what year they were born or maybe how old they are? Because this generation makes no fucking sense to me anymore.
right. Well,
everybody wants to be part of some special fucking group.
Or
yeah,
desperately not to be part of it.
um,
Don't call me
that.
a millennial,
I'm not that.
please. Stop it.
I'm not that. I don't know
So-
what I am, but I know what I'm not.
Mike, we potentially are millennials, or we're potentially Gen X.
Yeah, I know.
It-
We the 1980 people get to sit right on the fence and just be
Right.
great. We're just great at everything.
I wish.
Understand everyone equally. The old sock hoppers and the new whatever kids. The youths.
The Utes.
The what?
So, Brent, what about you? Where's your political alignment, and how do you define politics and political parties?
Well, for me, I've actually kind of swung from one end to the other. Uh, Growing up in a traditional Christian family, I saw the Republicans of the 80s, and that was kind of my, how do I say, my rearing, right? Was around the Republican Party. Through my teen years, it was the age of punk, listening to Bad Religion, being a part of, that whole movement in the early 2000s where it was more liberal. It was more, around the Democratic Party. It was not about going to war because that was what was popular. It was, we were going into the war on Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, all that. And it really spoke to me because I was watching all my friends leave. I was watching all my friends go fight a war on the other half of the continent that I just didn't understand. So I leaned pretty hard left at that point. And now that I've kind of gotten older, had kids, I'm kind of swinging back more towards that right leaning, but again, more back to what I said in the last one, which was that the Libertarian Party. I again go back to individual freedom is paramount to me. I think that's what the whole idea was around again. When we were creating this country, it wasn't about left or right. It was about freedom.
Oh yeah, for the longest time, political parties were, um, I don't want to say shunned, but not recommended. It's something that came up, I think, well, I'm going to sound like an idiot if I try to give a timeline. But yeah, for the first 30, 50 years um, of the US, political parties weren't a thing.
Everybody want to the internet?
We should check that. We should check that.
Yeah,
They
fact check me
weren't
in
a
real
thing.
time.
Sarah would
Yeah.
be here. I don't know.
Like we need a historian to be part of our of our
Oh,
thing.
I mean, I can go ask Kat.
Somebody who's studied this stuff. I don't know. Something that struck me just now. You talking about Brent? You were talking about like as time went on, it almost seems like the more that you acquired, the more like Republican you became. Because it's like I was thinking about like when you don't have anything at all, it's pretty easy to share that and to have a sharing mindset. You're like, you're welcome to everything I have,
Which is nothing.
just nothing. You're welcome to all of my nothing. And then the more we get, the less likely we are to share for some reason. I don't know what that reason is, but I do see this big shift in people as soon as you have kids. It happened to my brother. You know, my brother was heading down a certain path, and then he had a child, and it completely changed his life. You know, and he said maybe it saved his life. So it's like that's a pretty dramatic example. And you know, but again, it's like the more you have, the more you can lose. And so the more you acquire, probably the more conservative you become because you just don't want to lose what you've told yourself you earned. And if it's a child, it's pretty hard to like not that, you know, you're like, that's not a thing. That's a, you know, this is a human being. This isn't a car. This isn't about capitalism. You know, this is a human being that I'm taking care of. So when you bring children into the mix, it's not the same argument as the big house or the car or whatever, you know. I mean, like having that kid really changes people because I never have had children, and I'm still pretty like, hey man, whatever you guys want, I'm you know, whatever you want you can have. But
So maybe that's something that we're seeing right here is like Mike D, you and I don't have children, and apparently we are the lefties here comparatively.
Speaking of Mike, how's my drum set doing up there?
It's fine.
Do you want to know about the answer to the parties? They were there from the very inception. You had basically like the Federalist Party, which would have been like Washington and Hamilton, and then on the other side you had the Jeffersonian Democratic Republicans. So like they liked to combine the two, Democratic Republicans. How cool is that?
Well,
I thought
what
for
would
some
like to
reason
see us get
Tories
back
and
to.
Whigs.
The Whigs came a little bit later, but yes, there were Whigs.
There was a time
wrong.
where we did have a representative from each party. One was president, one was vice president. I would like to know why that fell out of fashion. If you want to talk about bringing both parties together, how about you force them in office together?
Well, it wasn't right. Like they would spend terms going back and forth, undoing what the previous term had done. There were times of just like we
times do. That's today.
We're doing now, but it's like, you know.
Well, I think in the beginning it wasn't necessarily one party or the other. It was whoever got the most votes versus the next. So the biggest recipient of the votes was president, and then second ended up being vice president. I think it was actually Jefferson who was like, "Nah, we're not going to keep doing that. Like that's just crazy."
Yeah, because you spend most of your time arguing with each other, but
almost like today.
Yeah, well, I mean, have
we've grown up?
Yeah,
except we haven't.
Nothing's not.
I mean, we're coming up to what? 250 years next year.
Is that right?
For the country.
Woo!
Yeah. I know.
And some of the country has like 4 more years than other parts of the country, which is kind of cool.
Or like even longer if we think,
right?
You know, Hawaii,
some stayed
Alaska.
in it longer than.
Yeah,
that's cool. We are a young country still. Like 250 years, not that much. but I'm proud of us. 250 years. Like maybe we can hold on a little bit longer.
Maybe we can. One of my favorite quotes that I've ever heard, people in Europe think 100 miles is far. People in the US think 100 years is long.
It's a long- Yeah, that's funny. It's about relativity, right?
Right.
So
I
now let's
like
get
it.
to the fun part. What do I think liberal is? What do you think conservative is? What do you guys think libertarian is?
Yeah, no kidding, right? Well, that's what I think that was my position originally, was that I'm the neutral ninny who doesn't care to know what any of you knuckleheads stand for. Uh, I've only heard little bits about it. Um, so I think if you're conservative, you are slow to change. You take your time making decisions, and you might employ tactics like a filibuster. You might be found saying something like, hold on a minute, let's talk about this. That's a conservative mindset. A liberal mindset would be like, we've talked enough, let's do something. That's like the liberal thing, is like the time for action is now. Like it's a more not impulsive, but a more like active action forward kind of a idea. And then the libertarians, I don't know much. I've talked to them occasionally at like rallies and things, and it felt pretty good. It felt close. I was like, what's the problem here? Why do people hate them or whatever? What's the negative side of this? Because it's like it almost feels like when you meet Mormons for the first time, you're like, you guys are awesome. Like, why that's so nice.
Soaking is awesome.
It's like, you're so awesome. What's going on? But I felt I was like, are you guys, is it some sort of middle road that's trying to take little bits? Because it sounds kind of Republican in that like personal freedoms avenue, but it doesn't go so far as to like impinge on the rights of others, which feels socialist. Like you're at least aware of yourself in a society, and that like your actions do have reactions. But as far as like how you would vote, I don't know where that would put you. Like, because I feel like conservatives typically and Republicans typically vote to keep it the way it is, and Democrats typically vote to break it and start over. Neither of those things really work ultimately, but I do believe it's the mushing together of both of those that keeps the thing kind of moving along. And like it's almost like it's on purpose. Like the constant pumping of the brakes by the conservatives feels like a obvious and very logical mathematical response to the constantly foot on the floor, let's get some action from the other side.
I would say that if your definition is correct, then the current administration is not Republican. It is not conservative.
Yeah, they're smashing
because it is very much like hit the gas. We're changing everything now. We are not coming to compromises wherever possible. We're going to rule by executive order. We're going to make changes. We're not going to wait. We're going to slash all the departments and not take the time to put something else in place to fix whatever the thing is. It's just like, nah, chainsaw. So if your definition is correct, I would, and I don't know if it is, I would say that it is not representative of what it has been in the past. And that's part of my issues with the current administration, actually, is that in general, I have been someone who can see both sides of things and like ideas from both sides. What I don't like is the speed at which everything is trying to be changed and how dramatic things are being changed, where I'm like, I find it concerning. And I think Mike makes fun of me a little bit for being, scared about some of the changes and the
I don't know that I make fun of you. I just remind you that Trump is basically on Bill Clinton's platform.
You keep saying that to me. What specifically is that, and what does that matter? I didn't vote for that guy either.
I wasn't old enough to vote for Clinton.
Also, it doesn't help someone like me. So this is perfect. What you guys are doing right now is perfect because both of you are referencing outside things that are inside baseball, or you're referencing old legislation that I don't. You're referencing policies that I'm unaware of. So when I hear you guys, it's like listening to two metalheads compare their favorite bands. No one's heard of either of the bands. It's the most boring thing to listen to unless you know what's going on. So if you pity me currently right now, help me to understand. You know,
Mike, I would love for you to explain that because I don't actually
Well,
understand
let me
that.
jump in for a moment here. JT, you said it's foot on the gas right now. Can you give me an example of that?
Yes, I can.
knocking down the East Wing when we're
Right. Ballroom.
Tearing down the entire East Wing is one thing. Making executive orders that just change previous legislation. So, for example, like banning trans people from the military arbitrarily. That is like, whoa, here we go.
So, can I jump in? A foot on the gas back towards conservative values, quote unquote.
Interesting.
Well, I was going off of what Mike said that he thought that one party was very foot on the gas and that the Republican Party was much slower and inclined to go slow. And I'm just saying if that is a true definition, that is not what's happening. Whichever direction they're swinging, whatever they're like, whether it's back to something or whatever, it is not a measured pace.
Right.
It would like the explosion of funding for and militarization of ICE to go from however 100 million to billions of dollars without being passed through a budget. Like it was created.
Asking one of us if we thought that would be okay, which I thought.
Right. Yeah, there was not it was not a discussion. It was not a buy.
Nobody asked.
It was right. So I'm not saying one way or the other where like I didn't even say if like they're not empowered to do that, which I don't know. But to me, what I was saying is that's not a measured and slow and calculated and it was not something created with bipartisan agreement at all. It was just decided. Along with all the budget cuts with Doge coming in and slashing departments and firing people. This was very quick, very accelerated. It wasn't, we're going to create something to take this place or we're going to discuss like why it needs to be cut. And people can argue that those cuts are necessary and that like ultimately a good thing.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, I would invite them to. Please, let's do that.
Right. Yeah. Let's have the conversation. Like I don't disagree that the Department of Education is bloated and had waste and needed to be worked on and improved. But I don't think just cancel, like the country's not a router. You can't just turn it off and turn it on again to like fix things.
Obviously, they already have.
They
shut down, bud. They shut down the government.
And it's going great for us. Yeah. What I'm saying is like, it's not a good thing to do that, right? It's not a good thing to just cancel things without, hi, friend.
This is Jonathan.
And this is my opinion. I like, and this is what my problem with this has been, is it's been foot on the gas for, 50 days now of just very rapid change, and very rapid change is not the conservative platform.
And you're free to have that opinion.
Yeah,
says the libertarian.
So you disagree? You think that rapid change is the conservative platform?
No.
Oh,
the conservative platform is traditional. When we go back to the beginning of this conversation, traditional family, keeping things from a more historic view. So when Mike D says foot on the gas, foot on the brake, I agree with him that the foot on the brake is to slow the progress, allow infrastructure to build before we continue to move forward. So when you said this is not a Republican, you know, party because all they've been is foot on the acceleration, I just wanted an example
No,
of what
I
you
was just saying if Mike D's definition of it is accurate, then it is not that.
Can I say too,
That's
something about, the mindset of it? What I was thinking about too is it's like, okay, typically speaking, conservatives move slowly. Now, that's when I find that when I talk to them, when I think, when I talk to them about how they think, they are slower to change, which doesn't parse with, or doesn't line up with how they act or how their party leaders behave. And so I'm worried that there are people, good, well-meaning conservative people, who want to have a thoughtful plod forward, who are voting for people who don't do it that way. And then the same thing on the other side is like, we have people who want change and want talk and want conversation, and their representatives are maybe hesitant or tentative, or end up capitulating at the end of it all. They end up like making amends or something, and not getting what, and end up being conservative. They make, and then end up making thoughtful conservative steps forward towards a more liberal society. Like you said, Brent, I like that, they got foot on the gas to go back to what they believe, which again, we're getting towards the end of, this has been a pretty long conversation. It's like, the whole thing started with, what do you believe, guys? Like, what do you believe in? What are your values? What do you value? Mike, you value family.
I do.
That's beautiful. I like that answer. And you came up with it pretty quickly. So I feel like that's got to be, honestly. So what I want to ask you is, does your party and the people you're voting for, and you don't have, I'm not putting you on blast, and just think about it. The people that you're voting for, the people that you're putting into power, are they taking care of families first? That's the most important thing to you.
Not in the state that I live in.
So, and I'm not saying, how does that make you feel? Doesn't that make you want to change? I'm just saying, does that, that's, I think that's a problem. That's important, that
Well,
maybe our leaders don't share our values.
that is very true. And to correct myself, the people that I vote for, to the best of my knowledge, do support my values. The people that get hired into the positions in the state, not necessarily.
Yeah, and that's the best you can do, right? And so then the question is like, well, how did those people get their fucking jobs then? Who fucking hired that asshole? Let's get rid of that person. The people that have hired that person have also been sacked. Let's go through it then. Who hired that guy? Get him out of there. Get the guy who hired him out of there. I'm assuming it's a white guy. Just assuming. Get him out of there. You're done. Your time is over. Term limits. Retire.
Was it JT that brought up term limits earlier?
I don't know.
I said I'm for term limits earlier.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's Chuck Grassley, I think I saw, is 91 years old, serving in Congress. I mean,
the changes he's seen in his life,
serious, but is he really, at this time in his life, the best individual to serve the populace that he was hired to serve?
Probably
not. Who does he serve?
I have no idea.
So I have no answer to that, unfortunately.
Lacking all information,
Yeah.
has made it impossible to decide.
It would be curious to see how long people would serve if they were back to just a base living wage.
Oh God, I would love
to get all money out of politics. That would be great. Yeah. Get all pay out of politics, and get all special interest out of politics. Get all soft money, hard money, floppy money, flaccid money, erect money, whatever kind of money. Get it the hell out of politics.
And stop letting them vote for their own fucking wage increases.
Yeah. No shit, man. Like, yeah. I think I did a good job.
Base living wage of 60,000. I think, I don't care where you live, 60,000 can be a base living wage And to me,
I could make that work.
right?
Well, it really actually does depend on where you live.
It really does. But
That's
like that wage here, I wouldn't be able to afford anything.
yeah, and that's a problem too. It's because salaries are so wildly out of whack and not really based on any reality. It's like it all depends on where you live.
But
Okay, let me amend it
Brent's
then.
got no. You've got a great point. Honestly, if motherfuckers lived here in LA making 60K as politicians, they would fix problems.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
They would
that's what I'm
fix
saying.
problems.
You would actually want to be
like,
this
committed.
bus sucks.
Like both left and right would be accelerating the shit out of fixing everything. You know, like there would be
come
no
down
like
here.
yeah.
Whatever
Yeah,
the
yeah.
median is of what your base that you're representing is making is what you should be making. And that would drive people who actually want change, who
Yes.
want to actually improve, and not
Literally
people just looking to
everyone
get one
would
thing.
be progressive. It didn't matter which party you're on. We are progressing the shit out of everything right there.
This sounds like that argument that architects should be forced to live in the houses that they design and build.
Mm,
That same thing, politicians should be forced to live in the society they've created.
Yes.
Yeah. Right now they exist outside of it for the most part.
mhm.
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
We all knew that.
Look at us agreeing again.
It-
Right? It's crazy.
Crazy.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, we have representatives on both sides that are just completely, how do I say it? Hypocritical.
Corrupt.
Yeah,
In the
hypocritical,
pocket
corrupt.
of rich people. Yeah.
All right. Well, we've known that for a long time. 2,000 years, I think. Something.
Probably longer.
It's the Republic.
Yeah. So how do we fix it?
Might be a topic.
Because neither side seems good at picking people who aren't in the pocket of bigger special interests.
Well,
This is why. Sorry, Mike.
Oh, I was just gonna say. I mean, I really do think it ultimately it really does come down a lot of times to the definition and what you define yourself. Because we all say, "Oh, I'm for family," but then you don't hassle them on what they mean, and it turns out that they think that a family is one man and one woman, and that's it. And also that their definition of woman is very rigid. And so you thought you agreed with them, but turns out you don't. That's a problem. And I think we do it to each other on purpose.
Yeah.
To advance our own goals.
To be like, look how stupid this other person is. Can you believe that they think this? Can you believe
look how smart I am? But yeah, look how stupid this person is an easier tactic to take. It's a more sensational tactic. Look how dumb this guy is.
Yeah, it's a fallacy for a reason. It's an ad hominem fallacy. It's like if I make the other person look stupid, then I win, whether what I'm saying is true or not doesn't matter.
Yeah.
See, and this is why I was excited for the 2016 election when we had Bernie Sanders and we had Donald Trump, two people that had very little traditional political, stances, political, backgrounds, if you will, kind of competing. I was all for either one of them at that time. And I think
actually
that
100% agree with you, Brett. Keep going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
no, I was just going to say, and I think that was like what was exciting was we were going to blow up the traditional elections. And to me, I think that's what we need. I think personally, if I go on YouTube and I can get people on board with me, and if I can run for president based off of a YouTube platform, doesn't matter how much money I have.
If you can get
That's what we need to do.
Yeah, go ahead, Brent. So far, you got my vote.
I don't know, man. He's gonna drive a tank over your shit.
Always gonna come back to that damn tank.
Then at least he would be a politician being honest about how much he cares about everyone. There's my tank.
Did any of you look up Killdozer?
I did. I read the entire story. That was awesome. Except not really.
Is that the guy that built his own tank?
Yeah, basically out of a bulldozer.
Oh, I think I don't think I read it recently, but I think I heard about that shit. That's
it's a sad story.
That's freedom right there, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're doing harm to others. So
very intentionally. Yeah.
very intentional.
The only person that was injured was the individual that killed himself, unfortunately.
Well,
but
we
he
can
did
talk
have
about harm in other ways, Mike.
property
right?
damage.
So financial.
Yes.
harm,
Psychological trauma and
psychological trauma.
right?
You always
What do you mean everything is nuanced and has deeper definitions? What? That's crazy.
Sorry, I'm gonna be that guy every
No, I
time.
appreciate that. Mike calling everyone out and being like, qualify that. Tell us what that means. What does it look like?
I I just think it's very easy to read something smart and say it back. You know, it's
It's
that
not easy to read things that are smart, man.
we are
It's really
we're
not.
pretty
Like,
good monkeys.
it's
Just
hard.
just like act like I know what I'm saying and just quote, you know.
The fun thing, and JT, you can back me up on this. So many people think Shakespeare is smart. Shakespeare wrote for the masses.
Yeah.
He has fart humor.
Oh yeah.
And he does it in the smartest way. It is sublime. Like, okay, there's a fart joke and then there's a Shakespeare fart joke. Like, please, they're not. This is not the same. This is not the same. The Shakespeare insults are supreme. They're amazing, and like he just, I'm sorry. I'm in the pro Shakespeare. Not all of his plays were bangers, but there are enough of them that it's like this guy had some chops, whether he existed or not, or whether it was the whole community that made him.
Thank you. I was just about to ask that. What do you think of that legend? Because I kind of like the idea that it was a troupe of players and that Shakes had really good handwriting and could spell and was a great editor. You know, was like a good director and had stories and was like, "Ooh, that's good. I'm going to put that in, but I'm going to write it out neat." Like, what is wrong with that idea? I mean, love the idea that it was.
I mean, I'm not a historian and I'm not going to like wade into this. I would say that there's enough consistency in like the tone and the style that I imagine that at the very least, if he was an editor, he had ultimate say over, like he had final cut of what they created. And I'm sure that he did take from stuff that they were experimenting on, and he liberally took from other stories that already existed. He stole outright and made them better.
Are we talking about Shakespeare or the Disney Channel?
Yeah.
Yes.
JT, have you heard about how LeVar Burton got so good at saying the techno jargon on Star Trek that after a certain number of seasons, the writers would just start putting in say techno jargon,
and he just made it up?
He would just make it up, and they were like, cut it, print it, it's fine, it's good, he knows what he's doing. Like, have you heard that legend at all?
I hadn't heard that. I know that in a lot of like first drafts of scripts, the writers couldn't be asked to do that. They would just put in insert Treknobabble here. Yes, but that like a lot of times like a producer or someone like Justman, or they came in and they added it in and they put that in there before the actors could do it. But I wouldn't be surprised if that happened at least a few times. That
hundreds of episodes, right? It had to have happened a couple. There had to have been a few late nights where they were like, "It's good enough. Like, no one's gonna care."
Well, they made fun of it in the final episode of Next Gen too, where Geordi sees old Picard and he's like, "There's a problem with the warp core or the phase inducers or some other damn thing," you know. Like, they made fun of it. It's like, this was all made up. Great way. Way to bring it back to something inclusive and nerdy and geeky. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, things got heated there. We agreed, we disagreed.
I don't know that they got heated, but yeah, we agree.
Mike tried to come at me.
So we agree that conservatives are about family, traditional values, and liberals are about being the dreamers, right? Look into the future.
I will not say that I agree with that. I think that there are many liberals who have traditional families and believe in family, and I believe that there are a lot of conservatives who are not, mom, dad, boy, girl in their family value. I think family values are a universal for Americans for the most part. And I don't actually think that the divide between what constitutes a traditional one is as firmly regimented as we would be led to believe when people are like, no, it has to be this. And like, I don't actually think that most people have that. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm not.
So
I'm not in any. Say what?
So what did we solve today?
Nothing.
We're not solving anything, man. We're
Oh,
talking about
okay.
how crappy
Okay.
everything
Yeah,
is.
we're
Oh, okay.
talking on the internet. We're
Yeah, like, what do you mean?
solving a thing.
Just bitching. I'm trying to bring up, metal and
But I
stuff.
also think conservatives are dreamers too, and that they want things a certain way, just like you were saying. It's a shift for a lot of them. It's a shift back to something that they believe in. Well, that is a dream that they are trying to realize. And I think Mike D made some good points of like, you have to define what that dream is at every moment. You have to define what family is at every moment, and those definitions are fluid. They're changing all the time, and they depend on who you're talking to. But I don't think that there's an overwhelming amount of people who hate Americans who are American, who are like trying to undermine our society. They're just trying to go towards that thing that they think is better. And we disagree oftentimes on what that is. And I hate the rhetoric that's like, no, these people are coming for you and they're ruining everything and they want to ruin America. Is the enemy.
I think in when you're going through therapy, they call it splitting, that all or nothing kind of argument, that us versus them mentality, that in order for them to win, you have to lose, and that, you have to get out of that mindset.
We can both win. We can be winners. We can both get participation trophies as Americans.
You didn't.
And then we can blame our children for thinking that participation is important because we gave them participation.
Why are you being so cynical?
No, we can, though. I actually think we can. And I do think that we succeed together more than we succeed as an isolated one thing or the other.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
It's going to keep swinging back and forth. And if we want to make progress, the pendulum is going to only rise like when we're kind of in that middle. I don't know. It's the extreme stuff. I am extremely against extremism.
It's kind of extreme stance to take.
Yeah. And I will die on this hill, but also compromise and agree sometimes if you agree with me, obviously. Yeah.
Like it.
Well, gentlemen,
to end on.
Yeah, we've been going about an hour. I think it's a good time to wrap up. I'll get this processed. Mikey, you got something to say? Okay. Cool. I'll get this processed and have it up so you guys can take a look, and we'll figure out if it's worth posting.
Excellent. And we get 100,000 views. We go shirtless next episode, right?
Heck yeah.
Right.
Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Try that. Follow me.